All right, welcome you guys into the live. Welcome to Daily Affirmations for the Big Girl and all of us. You're joining us for the talk after our walk. Good morning, DAFT family. How's everybody doing? I see Miss Gia out there. I see Marilyn out there. I suspect that we have our friends over at TikTok sending the message out that we are going live. But we're going to do what we always do. We're going to let people come in as they do, as they will. Today is day 51 for anybody that's counting, for anybody that's been watching us in our lives every morning. You will probably already know that today makes the 51st day that we have gone out walking, that we have been out walking consecutively. Today's walk was all about the real cost of getting healthy. We talked about the sacrifices of time, habits, and comfort that often don't make it to the before and after photos. Guys, be good to one another. Please, please, please be kind. If you're looking for someone to walk with, you need that accountability partner because you don't have one where you are. We're only a button click away. Please make sure that you join us for our lives each morning. Yeah, so that's where we are. So as has been my custom since we've started this little experiment back into wellness, health and wellness, I try to give the last word of encouragement to my co-host that's out walking with me live. So I'm not going to break from tradition. I'll give Marilyn the last word of encouragement, and then I'll come back in and we will wrap for today, but not before I make mention that we will be starting our second live at 7:30. Please make sure that you join us over there once we reopen that.
All right, guys. Thanks for walking with us.
The decision to do or not to do isn't always easy, but it is always yours to make. We walk through it, we talk through it, and we reminded ourselves that progress doesn't always look pretty, but it's still progress. Be sure to join us for the next Mile in My Shoes tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. Good morning, Caterpillar. That's an interesting handle. You got to tell us about that. So we have gone 51 consecutive days. A couple of days ago, thank you so much for the confetti, Marilyn. But a couple of days ago, I made the statement that we should probably challenge ourselves to walk 365 days. And then I think I did a little woo there as well. So I didn't want to sell this comment short. But listen, so yesterday threw us a curveball. We celebrated day 50, and then life started the minute I hit end on the live. And unfortunately, I was not able to publish our replay. I just wasn't able to do it. And it was such a monumental day, too. We hit day 50, half of 100. We're almost halfway through the point that we stopped last time. I believe we stopped 2 years ago when we were out doing our walks. I believe we stopped somewhere around day 109. I want to, of course, meet that, but I want to exceed that and really see if we can do 365 consecutive days. I mean, why not, right? But here's the thing. We're still here. If I could figure out how to make these notifications just stop. It seems like they just want to come up every time I go live. The nerve. The absolute nerve. But anyway. Ooh, get your mouth back, Tammy. But anyway, we're still here, and that is the essence of perseverance. That is what we want to talk about today. Every morning, we can go out walking, and I try to develop some sort of a theme that kind of ties back into either something I've seen, read, experienced, chatted about. It's detected that the live chat didn't appear on your screen in the past 2 minutes. What is happening, people? What is happening? I don't understand it. It doesn't recognize that we're on. It doesn't recognize we've gone live. I don't understand. But if you are in this live, make sure that you're tapping your screen. Costs you nothing to double tap. Double tapping gives us hearts. Hearts turn into diamonds or something, and then the diamonds, BOH. I see us. What's that? What's BOH? Make me hip. But on the other hand, is that what it means, Gia? You know you're hipper than I am. You're cooler than I am. Are we in a simulation? Maybe. It may be. I don't know. Anywho, today we're going to continue our generational wellness, our look into generational wellness, with a focus this time on the late 60s and 70s. If you'll recall, it's an Italian slang, like, I don't know. Okay. I don't even know how you say it, and I don't think you could spell it so that I would be able to say it. Bo. I probably sound really crazy right now. I don't know. At any rate, like I said, we looked into, we started our look back with the 1950s and 60s. And today we're going to continue in that mode. We're going to continue with the late 60s and the 70s. And then I thought it would be really cool not only to examine, just examine on a very, surface level, the differences between the generations and what health and wellness meant to each generation. And also something that I forgot to mention when we were talking yesterday, the importance of knowing what health issues are prevalent in your family. That's really why I started thinking about it, because, the things that we experience, many of the things that we experience are brought on by us, and they can be brought on by environmental factors, us not really putting much stock into our health and wellness. We already established that, and how, we allow the stressors and things of the day to take their toll on us. But there are some things too that are that link us generationally. It passes on through our DNA. It passes on, from one generation to the next. And in the case of those types of things manifesting in us, it's a good practice to understand what your family's health history looks like, if you can do that. Now, there's some cases where people are adopted, or they never knew their parents or siblings, and so they don't have the luxury of that history. But for those of you that do, it's a really, really good idea to make sure that you know what was going on in your family prior to you getting here, just in case that thing, whatever it is, shows up in your life, so that you're better prepared to handle it. If you know that hypertension is something that runs in the family, or heart disease, or anything like that, that's something that you definitely want to be mindful of. Okay, so it's an Italian slang, like, I don't know, bow, like bow and arrow. Bow. Well, bow. I'm going to be saying that all the time. Hey, Tina, what do you want to eat? Bow. I don't know. Close enough. I agree. I did my best. I don't know. Anyway, but today we're continuing our our look back into generational wellness, with a focus on the late 60s and 70s. We're spotlighting the music, the movement, and the mindset that taught us to push through when life gets tough. if there's anything that I can say about the previous generations to Gen X, I don't know, whatever. Like shrugging your shoulders, but a sound. Bo actually is better with a shrug. Bo. Did I do it better that time? I hope so. But anyway, if I can say anything about my experience with the generations that came before us, they have the mentality of you just push forward. You just keep fighting. You just keep pushing forward. If something doesn't go the way you intended it to go, we appreciate you staying on topic. Me too. So stop getting me off topic. Bo? No, that's not the right context. I'm so sorry, Gia. It was just the sound. It was the sound that compelled me to say it that way. I'm sorry. Anywho, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, listen, the generations that came before Gen X, I'm a member of Gen X, proud member of Gen X, and the generations that came before us were very no nonsense. My dad, I think, got a double whammy because he was also career military. So he's very straightforward. There is no beating around the bush with him. If you need something, if you want to tell him something, mind you, do it respectfully. But if you need to say whatever it is you need to say, you just need to come out with it. Because if you don't, he has very little patience, very little tolerance for that type of thing. His mindset is either you're going to do it or you're not, but we're not going to keep talking about it. He has a more colorful way of saying that I will not repeat on this broadcast. But those of you who know me know what that slang is. He had some other colorful words for me when I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do too. But once again, I will not subject you all to that. Good morning, Zarina Dean, 658, Corny Child, Miss Ty. Welcome into the feed. If you're just joining us, once again, this is the talk after our walk. This is the second live that we've done today. We just got back from our first live. We do it every morning at 6:30. If you are interested in an accountability partner, someone that you can walk with, talk with, laugh with while you're out doing your exercises for the morning, you need only come into our TikTok live, which we do every morning at 6:30. So if you're looking for someone to give you a word of encouragement to suffer through the agony of walking hills, even, look us up. We're there, and we're there for you. So listen, we are looking back on a generation that taught us to push through when life gets tough. Our parents and our grandparents believed that hard work paid off, and we are honoring that work ethic in our own wellness journey. So here's something for you all. Drop a flex or something, icon, some other emoji, if someone from that generation inspired your work ethic or wellness mindset. If someone who was born in the 60s, 70s, in this case, it was probably us. So try to think back on your parents. We were born in the 60s or 70s, and we didn't have much autonomy over what we were doing. So we were kind of at the mercy of our parents. So if you had a parent or a grandparent, in some instances now, some of us are grandparents now in my generation, that is so scary to me. I don't feel responsible enough to be someone's grandparent. But anyway, if you had someone from that generation inspire your work ethic or your wellness mindset, let us know in the chat. Give us a thumbs up, a muscle. What is that one? That's the flex icon, right? The flex emoji. Give us one of those to let us know. All right. So as you guys do that, let's dive into what perseverance looked like back in the day and how we carry that torch forward. I am the grandmother of 4 grandkids. Wow. That's cool. That is cool. What kind of things do you try to leave with your grandkids? Are you Are you drawing more from things that you learned from your own parents and your grandparents? Do you even remember your grandparents? I had one grandparent that I grew up with, kind of. My mom's family still in the Philippines, and I only remember visiting the Philippines once, and I was 4. At that point in time, my grandparents were still with us, and I just remember like bits and pieces. So for me, my interaction with my mom's parents, my mom's side of the family, more like highlights. I remember, little bits and pieces here and there, but I don't really remember. I don't really remember too much about them. And then back when we were growing up, it wasn't the same as it is now, where you had access to video chats and that kind of thing. Let me speak to some people as you're coming in. Angle, welcome. Yamaleth, Katie, Kevias, welcome. But yeah, we didn't have the luxury of that. And then to make a phone call overseas was astronomical. So it wasn't even like you could be on the phone that much. Back then, long distance was really, really high. And unfortunately, I did not get to know my mom's side of the family as well as I would have liked. We talk to them more now because we have access to video chats and to Messenger. We often use Messenger to get in touch with the family over there. But yeah, so the only grandparent that I really grew up knowing was my dad's mother, my grandmother on my dad's side, because my dad's father passed when he was 10. So there was no way I was going to know him. But yeah, so my grandmother, she was very, very special to me. And I, saw her. We talked about this the other day. She was into canning food, fruits and pickles. She made her own stuff. She used to sew, and she had those big, what do you call those big, they're like these frames, then you make, she would make patchwork quilts and stuff, but they had these little like wooden frames and they were in a circle. And the name of it is slipping my mind right now, but you'd put the cloth in between and then you'd clamp down the two pieces of the frame and then she'd sew and stuff. And, I will share this with you. When I was little, I remember, going to my grandmother's house, and she, like I said, it wasn't a loom, not a loom. It's the frame, it's like you do the embroidery and stuff with it. It's just like this, it's like a 2-part frame. And then you put the cloth in between it and then you clamp down the top piece. Does anybody out there know what I'm talking about? Please let me know what it is in the chat, because this is going to drive me crazy. Good morning, Big Tone 845. Welcome. I don't think it's a loom. I definitely know it's not a loom. It's like an embroidery. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm not gonna dwell there, but if you know what it is, please put it in the chat. If you're watching the replay, please put it in the comment section so I can be okay, because I will obsess over this all day. Anyway, back to the story. I remember one time going to my grandmother's house, and she gave me a needle and some thread and a little piece of cloth that I could, sew with. She was showing me how to do a stitch or something. And I had my little thimble on, and I was practicing. And then I don't know what happened, but somehow when I pushed the needle through, it snapped the needle. And I was so afraid. I thought I was going to get a spanking. And finally worked up the nerve to tell my grandmother that I broke the needle. And she didn't get mad. She just said, oh, well, when you're sewing, that happens. Needles break. And I was like, phew, because I thought for sure she was going to get me because I broke a needle that she gave me. But what it taught me was how sensible my grandmother was, number one, but how patient she was. She was very, very patient with me. I don't know about my other, cousins, but my granny was very, very patient with me, and I appreciate her so much for sharing that knowledge and stuff with me to keep that little piece of her, alive and well. But that brings me back to the point of why it's so important for us to go back in and look at our history and look at, the generations and things before us, especially in the context of health and wellness. So sure, it's not just called a quilting frame. That's sounding familiar to me. Gee, I don't know. I think it's one of those situations I'll know it when I see it, if I come across it, or if it just comes back to my remembrance. I'll probably just yell it out, and you guys will think it's random, but it's not. Anyway, let's move on to something else, shall we? Apple a Day Challenge. We have been doing the Apple a Day Challenge since the beginning of I was about to say January. No, we've been doing it since the beginning of July. So throughout the month of July, we are eating an apple a day. And we have developed a challenge that we have extended to you, our faithful followers. It's very simple. You eat an apple, take a picture of you eating said apple, make it creative. And then you're just going to post that picture, tag us in the picture, and use the hashtag #AppleShamer. I wish I had my shirt on. I had my shirt on the other day, but just so that you know what's in it for you, what's at stake here, you will, number one, receive the title of something. I don't know. Winner? Apple a Day winner. Woo! Anyway, but to the person who has who's amassed the most points by the end of July, we do have an Apple prize pack, Apple Patch prize pack. And we have some literal patches that we will be including in the prize pack. I'm supposed to be showing you guys some of the other stuff that we've developed, but of course, I didn't remember to do that, but it's okay because we have some other stuff. So we have the glass version of a tumbler. It has a handy dandy straw that comes along with it. We have some t-shirts. That's the version in white. We also have a version in black. And then we have a different version of the shirts too. One that has some embroidery that has been embroidered that we will likely put in the prize pack as well. We have these little leather bands. They're real leather. They smell so good. Oh, thank you to the producer. Thank you to my producer for putting the hashtag up there. But yeah, it's really simple. If you want to participate, it's nothing deep. You don't have to purchase anything to participate. And then once again, thank you to my producer for putting in the web address for our e-commerce store. If you don't particularly thrive off of competitions and you'd rather just show your support in a different way, you're more than welcome to go over to our merch store. And that is bandybox.store, B as in boy, ANDY, box.store. And Bandy stands for black and yellow because that's the color. Those are the colors in my logo. Be Positive Productions and Multimedia Studio. So remember that name. We're going to blow up one day. I just know it. I feel it. And if we don't, you can still go get some merch at our e-commerce store. Anyway. All right, so now let's take a step back into a decade of disco, afros, and true grit. Disco, afros, and true grit. All right, so the late 60s and 70s were definitely marked by cultural change, but also by unwavering determination. Why do we say that? Because back then, hard work was still seen as a badge of honor. People were still trying to make that 30-year mark so they could get their watch. Back in the day, kids, companies used to reward your longevity with them by giving you prize or gifts at different milestones. And I know that a gold watch, I think, was one. And of course, you had a pension and all that kind of stuff. And so your hard work was a badge of honor. Your hard work was rewarded. People, they aspired to be on a job for 30 years. It's not so much that way now. I don't know. It just seems like the whole culture just changed. If someone is at your job or at the job for 5 years, it is a monumental feat, because it just seems like people, they just like come and go. I don't know what motivates people nowadays, but I grew up in a household where that was the general rule. That was the general rule. Hard work was a badge of honor. You just put your nose to the grindstone, you keep pushing, and eventually something good would happen because of your consistency and because of the discipline. Gia mentioned yesterday that discipline is hard. It is hard, but my father's saying to me all the time is if what you were doing was easy, everybody would be doing it. And no truer words ever spoken. If what you were doing was so easy, everybody would be doing it. So try not to allow, the negative stuff to creep in, and just remind yourself that what you're doing is worth it. So our health and wellness journey, it's worth it. We may not see all of the gains that we're making all at one time, but with consistency, hard work, nose to the grindstone, that same level-headed approach, pragmatic approach to everything back in the 60s and 70s, that applies. It still applies, even if we choose to coin, apply different names to things and stuff. I don't know that they really focused on health and wellness so much back then. But just from a Google search kind of way, I came across some interesting facts. This was a generation that said, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Remember that? You remember hearing that phrase when we were growing up? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That's when your mettle kicks in. You don't shy away from a challenge. You hit it head on. My dad, I reference my dad a lot because my dad was more the, I don't want to say go-getter, because my mom worked extremely hard too. My mom's work ethic is out of this world. I've seen both she and my dad work through pain. They worked through I remember my dad when I was little, he used to work at IBM, and he'd have to get up really early in the morning because where we lived was about 45 miles away from his job. And I remember once him going into work, and I'm pretty sure he had pneumonia or something, but he was just like, I got a family to take care of, got kids to feed, home to supply needs for, and he just got up and did what he had to do anyway. So yeah, he's definitely a part of that generation that would have coined the phrase, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. All right, so interesting fact. Did you know that in 1970, only 2% of meals were fast food? Most people ate at home. Also, during the 70s, it seems that the jogging craze started thanks to the rise of personal fitness, and family histories began to be more commonly tracked with the emergence of personal medical records. All of those things seem to have happened sometime during the 1970s. Uphill both ways in the snow. Exactly. We've all heard those stories. And did it barefoot. And when you got to the school, in my dad's case, they used to have to chop wood and feed the stove before the before the teacher got there, so that it would be nice and warm by the time the teacher got in to the classroom. Isn't that crazy? And the things that we complain about now. Anywho, I also came across some quotes that you all might find interesting. And those quotes are, let's see. Perseverance is not a long race. It is many short races, one after the other. That was spoken by Walter Elliott. Second quote, it always seems impossible until it's done. And that was spoken by the great Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. We need to make some t-shirts or something with that on there so that I can be reminded of that all the time. Good morning, Trina Morton. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you guys are just joining us, you're joining us for Daily Affirmations for the Big Girl and all of us. This is the talk after our walk. This is our second live. And we are talking about the theme of, we've been looking at, whose generation has done things better, looking back at generational wellness, trying to figure this thing out and trying to see if there are any things that we have taken from our parents and grandparents, any lessons that we brought into this new generation with us. Speaking of which, hold on. There was another quote that I wanted to give you all, and that's hard work spotlights the character of people, and that was by Sam Ewing. And I would have to agree with that. Hard work spotlights the character of people, because when things get hard, you can wear a facade when you're meeting someone. We talked about this the other day. When you meet somebody for the first time, don't send your representative. You got to start out the way you plan to hold out, right? So along the same lines, hard work spotlights the character of people, because when things get hard and it looks like all is lost, you start to see the true nature of the person. If you got a potty mouth and you try to hide it, stump your toe, let something hit you in the shin, and what you're accustomed to doing, what you're accustomed to saying is going to come out. It's going to come out. So if we focus more on that good character building, then if something like that happens, you're not gonna embarrass yourself. You're not gonna embarrass your parents by saying something that you ought not say. But because you're just accustomed to doing it the right way or doing it a certain way. G1.cross, Michael, Caleb, Christian, Arsenault 419. Welcome to the live. All right, so let me share a personal story about what perseverance has looked like in my family. I don't even know that I have necessarily one specific story. I just told you the story or the account of how my father, I used to watch my dad get up and go to work, and he was ill. But he would get up and he would go to work because when he was in the workforce, he's now 84, but when he was in the workforce, there was no stopping because he just knew he had responsibilities. He had a family that he had to take care of. So there was no, there was just no stopping. I don't know if I've ever seen my father cry. And that's not an indictment, against anybody that does cry. But honestly, I don't know. My older sister passed. It definitely looked like he wanted to cry. The time I can remember that happening was when I think I was a rising sophomore. And you know what? And this is 51 for you, because I know I had a whole thing I was trying to say, and now I have talked myself into a tangent and I don't remember the point I was going to make. But anyway, in terms of perseverance, I've seen my dad overcome a lot of different things. I've seen my mom overcome a lot of different things, especially as of late. They both experienced some pretty traumatic health issues over the last year or so, and they both came through it amazingly. That saying that you don't know how strong you are until you have no other choice but to be strong, that I saw on full display. So Anywho, that's kind of what perseverance looks like in my family. What does it look like in your family? What does perseverance look like for you and your family? Do you guys have any anecdotes? Do you have any stories or anything that you can share with us? If so, put that into the chat. This is so awkward. This is never supposed to be about me. This is why we leave the chat open so that we can create a dialogue with the folks who are coming into the live. Speaking of which, welcome Caleb, welcome Lids, welcome Apri Stevens, aka Pre. Welcome. Okay, so enough of that. But knowing your family's health history matters. So it's the reason we wanted to take a step back. And as we did yesterday, we focused on the 50s and the 60s. And we didn't go out disappointed. Part of the reason that I wanted to do it too, in full transparency, is because when I had a conversation with my dad about whether he'd seen the episode, he said, yeah, I loved the episode, did not like your choice of music. So I thought, well, we have a very diverse group of people that are in our community, and we want to make sure that we are attending to the needs of everybody. So that goes to the music as well. But one of the fun things that we have been doing, we have been building a playlist that we can hopefully use to walk by. And so I thought what would be cool as we make our walk back through the generations is that we play music from that generation. So yesterday we started with the 50s and 60s. Today we're going to continue in that same mode with we're going to do part 2 of the 60s and 70s. So we're going to play music from that time period. I'm going to bring the display up for you so that you all can see what I'm looking up as well. And we are coming out of a playlist from Spotify. Welcome, M. Blooms. And I need your help. Because I have such a huge love of music, my musical taste ranges, and it's usually dictated by the mood that I'm in. So in my personal playlist, I will have songs from every genre, every decade, every type of artist you can imagine. Well, not every type, but the point is, I have a lot. Your live visibility restricted? What? Your live is not eligible for recommendation restricted in search results because it contains unoriginal or reproduced content that is in line. This is in line with the For You feed eligibility standards under our community guidelines. Wait, what? What? Well, we'll try to appeal that. What? Okay, well, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But I will maintain that I don't own the rights to any of this music. I don't own the rights. I'm not making any claims to the music. So I'm not really sure why we just got flagged, but apparently we got flagged. So, I don't know if we'll be able to do I don't know if we'll be able to play the music. Maybe. I don't know. What am I saying? What am I saying that is triggering the responses that I'm getting? I'm not really sure. I don't know. I have to go back and I'll have to go back and look at the replay, but I'm not really sure why our live is not being recommended. It's saying that we don't have original content, or is it because I'm playing the music? I don't know. I guess I'm just going to have to, well, I showed you my block comments. This is just it's so weird because I do my best not to say or do anything on these lives that would be uncomfortable for people, that would flag something that I'm doing. I don't know. I really don't know, because I have honestly seen people do some pretty interesting things, but I guess it's all original. I don't know. But anyway, we'll play some music, and then maybe I don't know. I don't know. I am at a loss for words. I don't know why I keep getting flagged and blocked. I don't know. I know words have power, um, but yes, Bo, Bo, Gia, Bo. Uh, so is this going to be this kind of day? Is that what we're looking at today? It's going to be that kind of day, huh? All right, so I'm just going to play I'm going to play little, snippets of the songs. You guys give us a thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't like it. Those of you that are in the feed, if you can see us, just make sure you comment. I don't know. Guys, just keep and double tap. You know what? Just double tap your screens. Double tap your screens. Give us lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of hearts. And then maybe, because we've gotten so many hearts, people will then start coming into the feed as well. I don't know. Appeal not approved. Your live is not eligible for recommendation and restricted in search results because it contains unoriginal or reproduced content. This is in line with the For You feed eligibility standards under our community guidelines. All right, you guys. I don't know. All right, I'll take it off. We won't do. And thus ends our music curation. I guess I could sing it to you. I guess they aren't happy with the music. Maybe not. I don't know. All right, so I'll take it off. I won't show it. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Okay, I guess they're not happy with the music, and I guess as life has shown, the heck, hide. I guess as life has shown us, we have to pivot. We have to learn how to pivot. Let's just act like we listen to some music. Wasn't that wonderful, you guys? Wasn't that great? Wasn't that amazing? I don't understand, man. I just don't understand. I have literally seen people do such crazy stuff. Maybe I can't use the word crazy. Maybe I have to start spelling out all of the words that we use to describe things. This is so WEIRD. This is really going to put my SPELLING to the TEST! Exclamation point. I don't know. So what are we going to do for the next 10 minutes? What are we going to do for the next 10 minutes? And people are not outraged as I am and not commenting in the comment section. I mean, I don't get it. But I suspected, I suspected something must be happening because, we were getting lots of people. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the little fruit basket, fruit friends. But we get a lot of, traction, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And then people don't even come in anymore. And I'm like, what is happening? And I kid you not, I go to other people's things because I, try to support everybody else's page. This is in no way, shape, form, or fashion me HATING on anybody. But the stuff I see, and it makes no sense. And they're playing music and they are, up dancing and stuff. And I guarantee you they don't own that, so what is happening? Anybody out there understand this whole platform and format better than I? Please let me know. Let me know what it is. Let me know what's happening. I don't mean to. Maybe you're playing it too long. I didn't even start. We hadn't even started today. What was I playing? I guess I had it up on the screen too long or so. I don't know. Gia. So since we can't play any music, what are some of your favorite songs? What are some of your favorite songs? Think back. to some of the songs from the 70s and 80s. Those of you that are old enough to remember anything, what are some of your favorite songs from we're doing the 60s and 70s today. So what are some of your favorite songs from the 60s and 70s? Put that into the comment section. And then if you would, maybe go out and take a listen to those songs on your own time. Since we can't do it together as a group, go out and listen to those songs on your own time. Let's put together a playlist just from the songs that we list in the comment section. I wonder if we can do that. I don't know. Hopefully we can. But let's think about it. What are some of your favorite songs from the 60s and 70s? Who are some of your favorite groups from the 60s and 70s? I'll say I like the Manhattans. You guys know the song Let's Just Kiss and Say Goodbye? My mind is blank. I can't think of a single song. I know, right? Maybe that's where the unoriginality comes in. You remember when we were younger and we had rotary dial phones and we had push button phones and we didn't have caller ID and those types of things? You remember how we used to have to commit everybody's number to memory? And I could tell you everybody's phone number without looking. I could tell you what each person's phone number was. And we had this whole Rolodex, and we had literal Rolodexes too, which you scroll through and look in. So we had those going. But remember how we used to have to really think and we had to really use our minds? Yes. See, technology is hurting us to some extent. It was supposed to make things easier. Technology was supposed to make things better. And it was supposed to, give us back more of our time so that we could do more of the things that we wanted to do with family and friends and, our loved ones. But what's come as a result of it is that we have, maybe we are no longer as original as we thought. Now, they say there's nothing new under the sun, but we were at least able to present it differently. So now there's little need to actually know anything. I would agree. You don't really need to know a whole lot of anything because you can just go to your phone now. My phone actually has more memory in it than my first computer. I remember being so excited getting my first PC. I was telling you guys earlier, my dad used to work for IBM and they got, employee discounts or whatever. So he bought me and my sister our first computer, and it had the floppy disks, like the big ones. And we had a couple of programs on there, but you almost had to know how you had to write like DOS prompts. So it would bring up the thing, and if you wanted to print, you'd have to say run, print, run, stop, or whatever it was. And but yeah, that thing, I don't even think it had as much as my these little SD drives that I have. This SD drive has 128 gigs of space of memory on it, and that's not even like the top tier ones. But this one has 128 gigs of space on there. My very first computer, when I went off to school, had 2 gigs. 2 gigs of RAM. Yep, I did. Just need to be good with the search bar. Now there's a little, okay. Just need to be good with the search bar. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can use this to my, yeah, I do remember the floppy disk. We had, there was one game that we used to play. What was the name of that thing? It was like some cats. Yeah, these cats were on these trash cans, and then you had to like jump up onto the window ledges of the apartment building or whatever to get to the top. I don't even remember what the name of that game was, but yeah, we had that. And then we had, looking back on it, I think we were really spoiled. My dad definitely took care of things for us. We had need for very little. and we were blessed in that way. But we even had an Atari 5200. I was so excited when my cousin got the Atari 2600, but then we didn't get our first game console until they came out with the 5200. And the joysticks were neat, and they weren't the hard ones that you used to have to, remember that? Yeah. Anyway, I'm kind of bummed, you guys. I'm kind of bummed out a little bit because I'm like, why do I keep getting flagged for stuff? I am completely at a loss. I'm completely at a loss for what's going on. But anyway, off of that, if you had to soundtrack your grind, what 70s anthem would it be? Think about some of the people who were in that time period: Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, The Temptations, The Supremes. Who else was there? I don't know. I think the Beach Boys. But weren't the Beach Boys? They were more 60s, right? But they were still around in the 70s, obviously. But anyway, so some playlist picks that you might want to consider going out and listening to today as you go out through your day. Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. Superstition by Stevie Wonder. I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. Lean on Me, Bill Withers. Oh, remember Queen? Queen was in the 70s. Loved Queen. They had a lot of good songs. And then remember this. I don't know who sings it, but remember another one, Bites the Dust. No, that might be Queen too. That might be Queen also. But Elton John was really big back in the 70s, and a whole lot of people. It would have been nice to actually listen to it. But yeah, Gloria Gaynor sang I Will Survive. Remember Donna Summers. What's the song that I like? Funky Town. I forgot the name of the group that sang Funky Town, but I love that. But we were listening to all kinds of stuff. In my house, we were probably listening to more R&B and soul and stuff. But I do remember ABBA, the group ABBA or ABBA. How do you say their name? Is it ABBA or ABBA? I don't know, but they had a lot of really good songs and stuff too. So you get a chance throughout your day, you all. I guess that concludes our musical curation portion. But let's honor the music and memories that keep us moving. As you're going throughout the day, maybe take a listen to some of the songs and then come back and then report to me tomorrow how much you like the SONGSs. I'm just at a loss for words. I don't know. Ay. But before we close, here's some reminders for the look ahead in the week. Make sure that you walk with us daily at 6:30 a.m. We go live every morning at 6:30. We do 2 lives a day. That is the first one. It's a part of A Mile in My Shoes. This is Daily Affirmations for the Big Girl in All of Us. It's my personal brand. We try to be a means of help to people. And I kid you not. I don't know if it's... I'm not going to say what I was going to say, because I'll definitely get flagged then. Never mind. I'll keep it to myself. One of my teachers told us a long time ago, I think it was in the 3rd grade, if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. So I will reserve comment. I don't want the rest of this broadcast to be me spelling everything out. But anyway, walk with us live, 6:30 a.m. every morning on TikTok Live. Join the Generational Wellness Challenge. I don't know how we're going to manage to do that because we can't listen to the SONGSs. Tag your apples if you are willing to participate in the Apple a Day Challenge with us. We are, for the entire month of July, going to be partaking of an apple a day. Thank you so much, Marilyn, for the hand hearts. And maybe it's my tone of voice. Maybe I will use a softer tone of voice so that way we don't disrupt people and we don't set off TRIGGERS. Anyway, if you'd like to participate in the Apple a Day Challenge, we will be doing that for the remainder of the month of July. Please take your take a picture of yourself eating an apple. Post it. Tag me in that post at Tamra1874. That's spelled. This I will spell for you so that you get it right and you're reaching out to the right person. All right, so it's at Tamra1874. If you want to post your picture, tag me in it, and then use the hashtag AppleShamer. And let me just clarify really quickly. When we say AppleShamer, we are not referencing the company. No, that has to do with my dislike for Red Delicious apples. I think maybe we got on somebody's bad side. Maybe it was RED space DELICIOUS. Maybe they're sick of us. Huh. Didn't think about that. Maybe they're sick of the SHAME. Anywho, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go out to Daily Affirmations for the Big Girl and all of us. We'd appreciate the likes and the follows. We have a personal goal of 100,000 subscribers by or before the end of the year. If you'll take a look at the bottom right-hand corner of our screen, we are at 1,349 subs. Yay! That means somebody else has followed us. Thank you guys so much for the follows. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you so much for the GIFTSs that you have been sending our way, and the STICKERS, so that you can level up. If you need any HELP with that, please make sure you see MARILYN. Her name is spelled Maryland, not like the state. Need merch? Make sure you go out to our e-commerce store. It's bandybox.store. And then, of course, if you need creative services, we are always there for you. Make sure you go out to our website. That's bposproductions.com. You can see it listed at the bottom of the screen. And with that, I guess our time has come to an END. I am proof that perseverance pays off. If this is not a lesson in perseverance, I don't know what is. We have been taught a lesson in real time. For those of you that are with us, I hope that you take this throughout your DAY. But I am the proof that perseverance pays off. I honor my past, show up in my present, and believe in the strength of my future. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys and gals so much for walking with us through 51 days of consistency, courage, and community. And I was going to say we'll see you tomorrow as we groove our way into the 80s. That would have been a great segue. But I guess I'm going to have to think about another thing. I'm going to think about something else. Maybe it'll be how to register for your local spelling bee. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I love you. Thank you so much. Take care. Ta-ta and bye.